Chris Scalzo with
Matt Howell.
This episode of The First Run, Matt and I are going to discuss the Apple Plus original from director Steve McQueen. It's Blitz. Not the Yeah's album. It's Blitz. It's the title of the movie is Blitz. It's just that it's Blitz. It's our second Odyssey-esque film of the year. This time, Saoirse Ronan stars with Elliott Heffernan as the mother and son. What was I thinking when I wrote that? The mother and son separated during the Blitz of England, trying to survive and reunite. There's the bottled lightning that is the big releases on physical media, featuring your streaming and Viper video picks of the week. And then Matt and I are going to close out the show with a round of everyone's favorite role-playing game, Who Dat? Matt, remember we used to call Joaquin Phoenix Joaquin?
I remind you and the audience every time I get, yes.
Did you ever struggle with Saoirse? I think I pronounced it as Saoirse.
Yeah, I didn't know. I just avoided pronouncing it until I saw a video of her saying that you pronounce it Saoirse, and I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Saoirse. Even I was pronouncing it wrong now. I thought it was Saoirse, but Saoirse. I like that. What is that? Is that Italian? Here's a clip from Blitz.
Please, Mum, don't send me away. Here.
Your dad would want you to have it.
How do you know?
I know, because that's the kind of man he was. Because you're his son. And it belongs to you now. And it's going to keep you safe, alright? Yeah?
Well, Matt, does it? Well, no, we won't spoil that. Does it keep him safe? Matt, what is Blitz all about?
Well, as you alluded to in the intro, it is 1940. It is during the German Blitz, a long-term bombing campaign against the UK in World War II. As part of the history of World War II, many Londoners and people in the cities, if they could afford it, would send their children away to go kind of be fostered out in the country and to keep them, the idea being that they would keep them safe. The mother-daughter duo, see, now you got me doing it, mother-son duo, they get separated. And essentially it's about them trying to kind of reunite and find each other during the, events of wartime London.
Matt, what are your thoughts on Blitz? I'm a big fan of Steve McQueen, so much so that when we were putting our top 10 and most anticipated films of 2024 together, I initially had Anora as my 10.
Mm-hmm.
And then forgot that McQueen had a new film coming out, and I swapped them out at the end. Because I was going back and forth over which one, and I think I enjoyed McQueen's oeuvre as a whole more so than Baker's. He gave us Hunger, Shame, 12 Years a Slave, Widows, and now Blitz. What are your thoughts on Blitz? How does it measure up with the rest of his films? What are you thinking, bro?
It looks good. It looks really good. The performances are pretty good. I think it's maybe a little too big. Tries to do a little too much. Doesn't always kind of connect the kind of two different sides of it, the kind of war film and then the life in, the life during wartime and trying to stay normal and things like that. And I think overall it's pretty successful and I enjoyed it, but I think that, and this is going to break Chris's heart, that Apple Plus or another streaming service was the right place for it to go.
Yeah, I can't say I disagree with you, unfortunately. Yeah. I still feel like McQueen is a master of construction. When it comes to developing, creating films, I think he is fantastic. Issue I have is none of the technical merits I have a problem with. In fact, the technical merits of this film shine.
Mm-hmm.
And as I agree with Matt, that Saoirse and Heffernan are fantastic in this film, and they really keep you engaged because the film as a whole still felt emotionally hollow to me.
Mm-hmm.
I never really connected with the emotional core of the film. I did with the true, I think, moments of terror and fear in the film. That scene in the train station,
Mm-hmm.
I audibly gasped out loud when that scene, and it's so perfectly, as I said, perfectly constructed, that entire scene. The build up to it, all of it, fantastic. But the emotional core of the film just never connected with me. It's the first McQueen film after when it was over, I was like, huh, that was fine. That was good. All of his other films have like captured me in some certain way. Hunger, just you are in that cell with Fassbender as he's on his hunger strike. Shame, another Fassbender joint as well. I mean, I don't know, Matt probably connects more with Shame than I would, but 12 Years a Slave was one of the just floored me. I enjoyed Widows, and I think maybe that one isn't as lauded, as appreciated perhaps as those prior 3 films. And then I'm a big fan of Small Axe, that series of, I think they're technically television films from the UK that he did, but all of those are brilliant. And this one it's good. It's good. But I think that's it. Like the recreation of World War II England, meticulous, perfect. You really kind of feel like you're there, right? But the proceeds, everything feels entirely too conventional for me for the rest of it. I don't know. There's no spark to this film. I don't know if it's because the script is rather rote. I don't know. And it cleverly and smartly deals with other hot button topics, like what happened to George's dad, I think was interesting. And I love how they never really fill in the blanks on that for you. It's all kind of just understood, particularly because of the time. But in the end, I'm just like, okay, all right, that's fine. That's good. When his other films are like, wow,
Yeah. Well, he doesn't really manage to find the emotional throughput, and I don't know if it's because I haven't seen all of his films, but maybe he's too focused on the spectacle and the technical aspects of this, and then maybe he's trying to say something to the effect of like, war is chaotic and you can't, one person will come into your life for 1 second and they'll be gone the next, never to be seen again, which I think is, something valid, I guess you could say, about something like that, but it doesn't make for particularly coherent or riveting film viewing, right? You need that kind of emotional throughput, and I think that's what's missing here. I think it's ultimately a bit of a well-made, interesting, you should still probably watch it, oddity in his oeuvre so far.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend you see it as well. I'm giving it, Matt, a B-.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a B- as well.
Great. Blitz is currently streaming on... Go ahead.
A segment that goes out on a whimper for a film that we were not super... It's all right.
Yeah, it's all right. Yeah. Just slowly, rolls along to a slow halt. Blitz is currently available on Apple TV+. They were the prices on that yet? I know for a while that was like a great deal considering what you would get for it. I think there's some really good shows on it. By the way, I am loving Bad Monkey. I finished Penguin and I shifted to Bad Monkey on Apple TV. That's the Vince Vaughn kind of detective show.
Okay.
If you're a Vince Vaughn fan, man, it's a cornucopia of delights.
Okay.
I'm really having a lot of fun with it. So
the problem with Apple TV is that it is a good value, but you run out of content quick.
Yeah.
Like they don't have like a huge library.
It's supposed to be other good stuff on there, like the Gary Oldman Spy Show, which I think is like a third, fourth, fifth season. That's supposed to be really good. I haven't watched that. I haven't watched Silo, the one with Ferguson. There's the one where For Humanity, whatever, where the Russians beat us onto the moon and like the impacts of what that is. Yeah, what is okay. Yeah, I heard that's pretty good too, but I haven't. I just haven't watched any of it. I've watched basically Ted Lasso, and then a bunch of the film offerings. I don't think I've watched any of the other shows.
Severance is pretty good.
I haven't seen Severance. We're watching Shrinking, which is like one of Mrs. First Run's favorite shows, and I think it's really good too. But yeah, if you haven't seen Shrinking, that's really good too. So
fair enough.
There you go. You're looking to get somebody something for Christmas or the holidays, I guess Apple TV for a little while. Watch all the stuff and then let it go, I guess. Blitz, All right, there we go, Matt. Let's talk about what's coming up on physical media this upcoming Tuesday, December 10th. It's a list of films, like one I'm from a director I'm just disappointed. Another in a series of films that I have yet to watch that I am desperate to see, and then a Criterion launch that I have been waiting for quite a little bit of time. But here's a clip from none of those.
Hello, Cooper.
Professor Brand.
Explain to me how you found this facility.
Kind of accidentally, sort of stumbled upon it. We were on a salvage run. We came
You're
across
sitting in the
fence.
best kept secret in the world. Nobody stumbles in here. Nobody stumbles out.
Cooper, please cooperate with these people.
Look, it's kind of hard to explain. We learned these coordinates from an anomaly.
What sort of anomaly?
I hesitate to term it supernatural, but it definitely wasn't scientific
You're
initially.
gonna have to be specific, Mr. Cooper, right now.
It was gravity.
What sort of gravitational anomaly? Where was this?
Hey, no, I'm real happy that you're excited about gravity, Bud, but you're not getting any answers from us until I get assurances.
Assurances?
Yeah. Like that we're getting out of here, and I don't mean in the trunk of some car.
Don't you know who we are, Coop?
No, Professor, I don't.
You know, my father, Professor Brand. We're NASA.
So there you go, Matt. Interstellar, 10th anniversary. They're re-releasing it in 4K. Get a brand new featurette. The Future Is Now. Look back at Interstellar. Explore the impact of the film 10 years later with new interviews with Christopher Nolan, Emma Thomas, executive producer Kip Thorne, and then the co-writer Jonathan Nolan. Also, there's some stickers in it. There's a poster and a book, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff. There is a steelbook as well as like a long kind of digibook that is reminiscent of the special edition of Star Trek The Motion Picture that was released in 4K, like this long kind of rectangle. So if you're an Interstellar fan, I have the 4K disc already. I think it was like $10 at one point. So I just picked it up. But I had the cool Blu-ray like magnet book. So I basically put my 4K in the Blu-ray set because it's just really cool. And I just kept it that way. So, there it is, buddy. Interstellar, Matt. Do you own Interstellar in physical media yet? Blu-ray, I imagine, at least?
Yeah, no, I have it in 4K.
Right.
Again, it's one of those ones that goes on sale a lot.
Yeah. Good. I'm happy for you. All right, let's, where are we? Counting down. Number 5.
Number 5?
Duchess from Neil Marshall. It follows a tough working-class petty criminal who morphs into an anti-heroine to be reckoned with in a murky underworld and a treacherous world of diamond smuggling. I don't understand Neil Marshall. So, Dog Soldiers is a film I really like. The Descent, one of the best horror films I think of the aughts. I have an affection for Doomsday as well. And then things kind of take a turn for old Neil. I think he did direct a bunch of Game of Thrones episodes as well. I'm not sure what the issue is because he had a run of some really good, entertaining kind of genre films. And then there's been a run of not so good, entertaining genre films, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't think I wanted to mention about that Interstellar clip. I always love William Devane. Every time he shows up in something, I know I'm going to get really just an intense, engaging, fun performance from that guy.
Mm-hmm.
I just Google if you're not familiar with William Devane. He's one of those guys. All right, you've seen him in at least something. So, all right, what else? Number 4? Number 4.
4!
The Roundup Punishment. This is the 4th film in Don Lee's kind of direct detective cop series, where he plays Detective Ma Sok-do, who joins a cyber investigation team to nab Baek Chang-ki, a former mercenary and the head of an online gambling organization. If we should bring back maybe the new year the second film thing and just run through all of these movies because I just love Don Lee and I want to see these Roundup films. I hear they're really entertaining. Matt, you love martial arts films.
I do.
I think we should consider that for the new year, particularly considering January and February tend to be a little rough.
Yeah,
so might have something to look forward to. All right, 3.
I'm giving you to the count of 3 to get out of here. Then I'm coming across the kitchen shooting you.
I need to find a better number 3, Matt. That is from Night of the Hunter. The Soul Eater. When violent and gruesome deaths start plaguing a small mountain village, an old legend about a malevolent creature resurfaces. I heard it's reasonably entertaining. Okay. 2?
I have 2 words. Perfect love and perfect trust.
Maybe we need to revisit 2 as well. The Beast. Leah Sado stars. In the near future, emotions have become a threat, Matt. Gabrielle decides to purify her DNA in a machine that will immerse her in her past lives and rid her of any strong feelings. But then she meets Lewis, and although he seems dangerous, it's like Matt, she feels a powerful connection to him as if she's known him forever. Includes an interview with the director, Bertrand Bonello. And then here's number 1, Matt. I've only had this on DVD. I've been waiting to upgrade it to Blu-ray. Is that right? No, that's not right. I have it on Blu-ray. And I've wanted to kind of get a digital copy for a while. And I was waiting, they'll release it in 4K. They'll release it in 4K. Well, they are, but it's not going to have a digital copy. So I guess I could always rip my Blu-ray. But coming out from Criterion, this is going to be number 1.
There can be only one.
No Country for Old Men, is being released. The brand new 4K restoration, supervised and approved by Roger Deakins. New conversations with the Coen brothers, as well as author Megan Abbott. And archival interviews, behind-the-scenes documentary by Josh Brolin, and 3 documentaries on the making of the film. One of the best films, again, of the aughts. Losing Out, I think, for me, as the best film, is that 2007? With There Will Be Blood. What a fantastic year that was. Sweet Pete. But No Country for Old Men is being released by Criterion in 4K. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to sit and wait until the Criterion sale hits Barnes & Noble. But I will be upgrading this to 4K, absolutely. Now, You May Call Me a Philistine, Matt, also being released in 4K. Criterion is putting out 8.5 4K, a brand new 4K restoration on that. Introduction by Terry Gilliam. Audio commentaries from some film critics, a documentary on the lost alternate ending for 8.5, and more. And then we have a trio of steelbooks, Matt. Stir of Echoes, all in 4K. Willow. And then stay tuned for the stinger this week, folks. Kickboxer. Nice. Also being released in 4K in the steelbook. Also coming out is The Addiction by Abel Ferrara. This is kind of his kind of New York vampire film. Includes audio commentary by Ferrara, as well as 2018 documentary about the film. And then, Matt, your Viper video pick of the week. I'm going to go with the 80s classic Pray for Death. And it's Prey. They shattered his American dream. The ninja master himself, Sho Kosugi, from Enter the Ninja and Revenge of the Ninja, stars as Akira, a Japanese immigrant who starts a new life with his family in America, only to stumble into the headquarters of the bloodthirsty gang of criminals. When the gangsters begin a rampage of murder that takes the lives of his 2 sons, Akira must step out of his quiet, peace-loving life and reveal his hidden identity, that of a perfectly skilled ninja, the most lethal and mysterious of all the martial artists. I love nothing more than a revenge film, and you make it a ninja martial arts film? Sign me up. Matt, what should we be streaming this week? Oh, I choose the wrong thing. I have another Viper. You know what? I'm going to pocket. I have 2 Viper videos. Usually I forget to do it. Now I have 2. I'm going to wait for the next week because this one is crazy. Matt, what should we be streaming this week?
So I'm going to recommend, available for on streaming today as we're recording this, Smile 2 is available on Paramount Plus. A vast improvement, I would say, over the original. And original was pretty good. And this one is a lot of fun as well.
There you go. Good pick, Matt. All right, let's go ahead and wrap up the show with a round of Who Dat. All right, Matt?
Yeah.
I'm seriously considering retiring this segment because it gets harder and harder.
Oh, my God. I'm so glad you said that because it is so hard to do. I looked at the thing and I'm like, shit, it's Who Dat. And I'm like, spend like a half hour trying to come up with stuff.
What I also think is part of the challenge is what I do is I'll Google movie news and try and find something that's happening.
Yeah.
But a lot of the sites, it's all just horrible clickbait shit now, you know, and
you can't even read the articles. They want you to like sign up for something, give them your email address before you can even finish reading an article.
Horrible. It's just horrible. All right. Maybe this will be the last Who Dat for a while. Maybe we'll do it like twice a year instead of like every 3. If you look at it, I think we only do it like 5 times a year, 6 times a year.
Maybe. Seems like a lot
Seems
still,
more.
though.
Yeah. All right. Here you go.
Look, you said it yourself. How can he become you? You're nothing alike. It's not believable. And it's not necessary. She loves him for who he is. It was contrived.
I still think the idea is theoretically sound, though what we didn't count on, and this might just stem from me being a novice, is that the audience have just spent 2 hours rooting for Edward, which, in this particular iteration, is me. If someone else then walks out and goes, oh, I'm Edward now, even if it's a Kenneth Branagh or whomever, the audience will feel cheated. We've broken our pact with them. They'll rightly rebel.
Look, I still want to be friends, and I'll keep you in mind for future projects.
The mask is mine. I'm keeping it.
Matt, that is a clip from A Different Man, a release from A24 this year. It won Best Feature at the Gotham Awards, which is a New York-based film and media institute.
Okay.
And they celebrate kind of smaller independent films. That's their focus. They don't watch like, Dune 2 and that kind of thing, right? It's all about the independent films. And this year, an interesting outcrop is that, I'm curious for your thoughts on this. They don't have gendered, I guess you technically say sexed, acting categories.
Okay.
They just have like actor and supporting actor type of a thing, right?
Yeah.
And out of all the acting categories, men swept them all.
Mm-hmm.
And I go back and forth on this. So you are Jimmy Hollywood. All right. President and CEO of Hollywood.
Right.
There is always talks about doing that with the Oscars as well. But then I think what happens is you could end up having women shut out. Or men shut out, perhaps, as well, if it's a particularly strong crop. But I think like the fact that, Mikey Madison was nominated, right? So she didn't get a sniff because of that. What are your thoughts on that? Out of the two of us, I'm probably the most crazy kind of leftist out of the two of us. I don't want to say where you land. I'll let you decide if you want to do that. So I go back and forth on that. I feel like maybe the compromise for me is dropping actress. And it's instead of them both be actors. But then how did you? Anyway, what are your thoughts, Jimmy Hollywood, on gender neutral casting? Is it a good idea or award? I guess say award.
Yes, I can see why people would say we would do it. I mean, we've kind of dropped out of a lot of professions. We've dropped out of gendering them than we used to before. They're just generally we just call actors, whether there's men or women now. We just call. We don't call them waiters or waitresses. We call them servers, right? So it's all kind of
flight attendants
as opposed to stewardesses. So I can see why people are going to that. And honestly, in most cases, it's kind of dumb to kind of differentiate during a profession, whether it's a man or a woman. That said, I was talking to my genius friend and confidant Matt Howell on the first run, and he says, and I happen to agree with him as am I Johnny Hollywood or Jimmy Hollywood? We can go back and forth.
I think we say Jimmy because there's actually a movie called Johnny Hollywood, I believe,
okay. All right.
from Michael Keaton back in the day, right?
Gotcha.
So I think we go with Jimmy.
All right, so I'm Jimmy Hollywood. I say that if you go to non-gendered, it gives you less opportunity to recognize great performances. And having it be gendered is just a way, not to say that it's not like, men's swimming versus women's swimming or something like that, like in the Olympics where it may not be fair, but it's a matter of it allows us to nominate and celebrate more actors, whereas if you just had a best actor and a best supporting actor and that's it, you're cutting out two worthy performances from somebody.
Yeah, and I think it does help as a celebration of diversity to maintain that. No, I think that makes sense. Yeah, all right, you convinced me. Thanks, Jimmy.
You're welcome, Chris. Anytime. I'm sure we'll be coming back to Jimmy again at some point.
Probably, I'm sure.
Yes. All right. So you're George Miller.
Mm-hmm.
Furiosa was enjoyable, but the numbers don't lie. It didn't make as much money as I think everybody was hoping it would make. And while it was a very good and entertaining film, I don't think it doesn't come up to the classic level that is Fury Road, right? Which is a hard act to follow.
Right.
Razor
blades. That's how you're supposed to be able to get into it.
Okay.
Right. All right, go ahead.
So, do you think the disappointing box office for Furiosa was due to the fact that it lacked a one Max Rockstansky?
What do I mean? He's in it. He's there's a scene. Yeah. Well, that's interesting. So I feel like it's one of those things where we all felt like it was a good idea, but maybe in retrospect, we should have just done another Mad Max film, and then maybe we do an HBO limited series, do like a 6-episode arc.
Amazing. It's flawless.
Max.
It's like Chris Hemsworth is sitting right across from me right now.
Razor blades. Yeah, I don't know. You're right. It's entertaining. Maybe just the audience just isn't there for it, which is just disappointing because it is an intense and engaging kind of thrill ride. Probably the most fun I had at the movies this year. I'm trying to think. Is there anything else really? Let me look at my list. I know I got to update it, but I got Love Lies Bleeding, Civil War, Fall Guy. Fall Guy was fun. Furiosa, Thelma, Kinds of Kindness. That wasn't a lot of fun. Maxine, I actually had fun with that, more so than Matt did. Long Leg, Substance. Yeah.
Yeah, boy.
Let's just sit here and listen to me say, yeah, for the next 10 minutes. I think that I guess so. I think the problem is the average moviegoer isn't me. Excuse me. I'm George Miller. The average moviegoer isn't like Chris or Matt, where they have a little bit of snobbery and a feet taste, and they like to try different things.
How dare you?
That some people just want to go watch stuff get blown up real good, which I do exceptionally well. Where am I going with this?
Yeah, you're dipping into Appalachia right now.
At least Joker failed. I guess so. I don't know. I don't have an explanation for it. All I can think of is maybe it's because it's a Mad Max movie without Mad Max. And I don't buy into the whole go woke, go broke female lead thing. I think that's BS.
Yeah.
I just don't know if there was enough. And maybe part of it was just it was too long. We waited too long to do this. So, I don't know. What's it been? It was 9 years, right? Yeah, Free Road was 2015. Though, that is blown up because of the fact that we didn't get Fury Road, and that was like 30 years or something like that, right?
Fair enough.
But you got to strike while that iron's hot, baby.
Burning hot. Yeah, I think all of those are good reasons. Although, the only other thing I'll add, and I don't want to lay it completely at her feet, but Anya Taylor-Joy is just not Charlize Theron. She just doesn't have the presence, the pull-off, like a captivating Furiosa that was just so much, like you just had to watch her on the screen, whereas this, she was game, but just wasn't as good.
That's interesting because Taylor-Joy is a very good actor. I enjoy her work a lot. The Witch, the Queen's Gambit, all this stuff. Yeah. Great actor. But you're right. She doesn't. I don't know if I've seen her have the gravitas, the heft that Theron does in Fury Road. So yeah, I don't know.
Maybe just word of mouth sunk it.
Could be because word of mouth is what kind of really propelled Fury Road, right? So,
right.
All right. Matt, you're J.C. Chander. First off, I want to ask you, what the hell happened? No, I'm not going to do that to you. I'm going to be respectful. J.C. Chander is a film director. He's done a few films. Margin Call, pretty okay.
Okay.
All Is Lost, which is that Robert Redford kind of stuck at sea film, right? Then I think one of my favorite films, not favorite films, what a film I really enjoy, A Most Violent Year with Oscar Isaacs and Jessica Chastain. Fantastic film if you haven't seen it. They did Triple Frontier, which is that Netflix film with like Ben Affleck and a whole bunch of people. That thing is just oof. And now you're here with Kraven the Hunter. I'm a little concerned. Sell me on the fact that as a marketing thing. You've released the first 8 minutes of Craven online, so everybody can see the film and really get a taste of the awesomeness and action. I see that, and I hear desperation. Matt, you're JC Chandler. Sell me on Craven.
Well, I really wanted people to be able to see that we're kind of approaching this as a different comic book film. That it's very graphic, that it's very violent, that it's very dark, and truly an anti-hero in the truest sense. So I wanted to throw the footage out there just because a lot of people are probably not going to see it, like a Red Band trailer. And I wanted to make sure that people who were on the fence about it could see it. I think that you're going to be pleasantly surprised as the director of this movie. And I think you should give it a shot, despite what your own eyes may be telling you as you watch the trailers and this 8 minutes of released footage.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. Here's the first 10 minutes of X, right? And I'm thinking, I'm trying to remember it in the past when that's like, oh man, that's so cool. I can't wait to see this. But I don't know. It is rated R. I'm not a big fan of the fact that it's over 2 hours long.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's 2.7, which I'm like 7 minutes is probably going to be credits, I guess, maybe.
Right, probably.
I don't know. Did you watch the first 8 minutes? I have not.
I have not watched it. I have no desire to go see this film at all. And I feel bad because, I mean, Aaron Taylor Johnson, he's fine. You know, most of the time I like him in most of his roles. And
you're a Spider-Man guy.
I'm a Spider-Man guy. But the problem with Craven is he's not a very compelling villain. He's been, he was killed, essentially, in the, 80s. And his most famous story is one where he basically kills himself. That is where everybody's relation to Craven begins and ends. He's just not a compelling character. They killed him off because he was so stupid.
Oh, is that why? That's just kind of mean.
Well, I mean, he's not a real person. He's just he's a written character. So if he's not doing well and you don't like him where he's going, then, they send him a good send-off, a memorable send-off.
That's true. Fantastic little Spider-Man story. You're right about that, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, naturally we'll be discussing it for the show just because I like to drive Matt crazy. It was going to be this or Night Bitch, and that's going to be a limited release. So I think next week. Oh no, wait, that's for this week. Was Night Bitch or Werewolves? I think it's
right.
And then the following week is Craven. So okay, yeah. Well, all right. You've convinced me. I'm excited to see Craven. Yeah, at least hopefully, fingers crossed, that Johnson gets James Bond. I think he'd be a good Bond.
Yeah. And he's
not my number one, but I think he'd be a good Bond.
And you can take solace in the fact that you're driving me crazy, forcing me to watch this. That you'll be like, whatever you're watching, you'll be like, haha, Matt has to watch this too.
Yep. What do you got?
All right. So you're Dan Trachtenberg, director of Prey. Okay. And we all know that you're releasing a new Predator film next year called Predator Badlands, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it turns out the producer that you're working with has said that you did a second Predator film, and at the same time, and it is coming out next year as well. Yep. So, what is it? Is it tied to Badlands, or is it something completely different?
So, the Predator shows up in London, current day, hunting the Great British Bake Off contestants one by one.
The most dangerous game.
And it's. Yeah, I mean, it's over like in 10 minutes. Those people are just more, they're pure souls, but it doesn't take long. Yeah, no, I actually I thought this was supposed to be like an animated film or something like that too.
That I didn't hear.
Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, so there's another movie. I'm trying to think what would be the best place to me as the director, just speaking out loud here, the best idea for a new Predator film. I would go... I mean, the thing is, Vietnam doesn't really work because that's kind of what Predator was about in the first place.
Sure.
The first one.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking American Revolution might be fun.
All right.
Those muskets and all. Was that too close to the, I don't know, Native American?
Well, I think what we talked about, so...
Oh, excuse me.
What your favorite podcast...
Fall of Rome would be good.
Yeah, Rome one would be good. I think we talked about a Viking one. I think would be good.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it'd be like a samurai one would be good as well. Or like a wuxia one. Just go like all out and have one in like ancient China and just make it like a wuxia film.
That's a good idea too. But I'm gonna go. I'd forgotten we'd run through all those. Yeah, I think a samurai.
Yeah,
like the predator comes. Yeah, and a Ronin has to redeem his honor by defeating the predator. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. There we go. Congratulations.
We should be writing these things.
Absolutely. All right, man. I got one more for you.
Okay.
I think both of our most was it? It was up there. Anticipated films 2024 was Robert Eggers' Nosferatu. Early reviews are dazzling, and everybody seems excited. What classic kind of horror property, you as Robert Eggers, would you like to tackle next?
Boy, that's a good question. I think, we're getting a Wolfman film, right? We did an Invisible Man film already. The easy answer would be like a Frankenstein play, but I think that's been done a lot, and that's been done to death.
And Del Toro's doing a Frankenstein movie.
Yeah, and I don't want to step on the Mexican bull's horns, right? So I honestly think that I would like to take a stab at something a little later and maybe give the world another Body Snatchers film.
Ooh. Oh, I hadn't even thought of that. My head went straight to Mummy. But let's see what he could do with a classic Mummy, but set it like at the same time.
Sure.
As the original film, not like as a modern movie. I still think The Mummy is one of the scariest. That film still freaks me out.
Yeah.
When I watched it, even now, it's so well done. Same too with the original Invisible Man. That is fantastic. If you haven't seen, and the special effects, it blows your mind how long ago that was.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I like that idea, Matt. I think that is Eggers doing a Body Snatchers would be fantastic. Oh boy, you got me all excited for it.
Yeah. And what would they do? What would be the social commentary on this one? And as would it be like, I think it could be like, it would be so on the nose and it could be done so poorly, but you could just do one like where you're once sweet and caring and parents and neighbors and stuff suddenly become these right-wing crazy people that suddenly have had their personalities completely changed overnight. So I guess that's where you could put it into.
Absolutely. I think we are primed for a Body Snatchers film. That, or I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing some like post-apocalyptic films again as well coming down the pike in the next 3 years or so.
They Live, another take of They Live somewhere.
If any film is screaming for a remake right now, it is They Live.
Or even like a streaming TV series.
Yeah, that is just... You couldn't even... That is more on the... That's like a punch in the face. I mean, that would be... Yeah, I don't know. It would be just too obvious at this point. But yeah, no, they should definitely do a modern update version of They Live. That's good, Matt. Anything else? Are we done? You got one more for me?
I got one more for you. Cool. So you're going to be Jimmy Hollywood, all right?
Okay, great.
Warner Brothers is in real trouble. They are hemorrhaging money like crazy. Who's left? Who could possibly, if all of their plans to kind of stem the tide and right the ship fail, who's left who could actually buy Warner Brothers? Or would it just be a fire sale and everything would be sold off?
I can't imagine. I mean, Warner Brothers should almost be like a publicly owned company before that happened, because like the Workers or something, some kind of co-op. Because their library is the vastest or the most vast, largest, and the properties that they own. That would be sad if they started like selling stuff off, like, selling off the DC stuff to a New Line or Disney, I would imagine. Oh boy, we can get an amalgam comics movie.
We could. That would be pretty. We could get some Marvel versus DC.
Anyway, yeah, no, I don't know. Well, my worst case scenario is just some just stupid like crypto company buys them and then just strips everything for parts, or it goes bankrupt and everything gets sold off, or I don't know. I can't imagine. I think what they'll do is they're gonna I think they're not going to do this. Is where they're going to separate Discovery. The whole Max thing has been a disaster. They're going to separate Discovery away from it again.
Yeah, right.
And then I don't know who would step in at this point. Who's left outside of it? Which is Disney owns what Fox, right? And then Amazon owns MGM.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it would be maybe Apple.
Yeah, the only ones I can think of would be Apple or Netflix, and Netflix doesn't have the money to do it.
No, they're too busy spending money on content.
Right.
In the worst sense of that word, I imagine. I could say.
Yeah. Man, can you imagine Elon Musk trying to buy Warner Brothers?
He tried to, I think, buy MSNBC, and he couldn't get the cash together, I don't think. So, and I think Tesla just, the day before we're recording this, or even today, denied his reinstatement package of his, something $50 million or whatever it was, kind of salary or something like that. I can't remember what the whole thing was. I see his name, and I just vomit in my mouth and just move on. I saw another Cybertruck in the wild today. Man, Eddie, talk about cars can be statements for people, but nothing screams douche like owning a Cybertruck. You only buy it as a status symbol. The only reason to buy one is to make a statement.
Yeah, right.
Because they don't serve. They're not. They've never loaned the trucks to get the beds have gotten smaller and smaller at this point, even though they've gotten bigger and bigger. That's another whole thing. I could talk about that for an hour. It's got nothing to do with movies, though. So
yeah, I mean, I can say this. One, I hate Elon Musk with an all-consuming passion. It makes me sick to my stomach that he's going to be the world's first trillionaire, and that drives me crazy. And also is
billionaires should be illegal. Sorry, go ahead.
Billionaires. Well, imagine a trillionaire, right? With that ego. He's also trying to buy my beloved Dungeons and Dragons so he can fix it. And just the sheer folly of doing that, because nerds will just not buy the books. They'll just keep using their old ones. But man, that's just the kind of person we're dealing with.
Yeah. That's horrible. Yeah, I think in the end, I think if Warner Brothers goes, it'll be Apple, because they have so much money, they don't know what to do with it at this point. So
right, or Microsoft, just to piss Apple off.
Yeah, maybe let's sweep in. Yeah. Wow, that's a depressing wrap up. What a great show! That's the end of Who Dat. How would you respond? What is your Australian accent like? We'd love to hear from you. Shoot us an email.
Please.
Send us an MP3 of your best Australian accent at feedback@thefirstrun.com. Matt, what's coming up next week on the big show?
I think we're going to do werewolves, because we're not going to be able to see Night Bitch.
Yeah, and let me tell you, at its heart, in its soul, this show is a genre show.
Yeah, it is.
So if you can give me a werewolf horror film, and I think very quickly, Matt, werewolves are your top in the monster.
Oh yeah,
right?
The classic monsters. Yes, it's really hard to do a good werewolf film, but when it happens, it is chef's kiss. Amazing.
Where I really hope this is the Christmas present you've been waiting for.
I hope so.
Movie. And then you have one of my favorite genre actors, Frank Grillo, is the star of this thing. So could be fun. We'll see. We'll find out next week. In the meantime, go to thefirstrun.com. You can find archives of all the old shows. There's a little player on there. Just hit play, and it'll start with the most recent one, and it won't stop until you're dead. You can head over to Apple Podcasts and give us a review. It'll help other people find the show. Head over to Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and then Blue Sky, where I am, and the show is on Blue Sky. We have jettisoned Twitter. Just go ahead and do a search for us. Scroll. Eventually you'll find us. And I guess that's it. So we're going to go ahead, take an extended break. We love you all very much. Take care of yourselves. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving. We'll see you soon.
If Senzo Tanaka is his Shidoshi, then show us the dim mak.
What the hell is a dim mak?
Death touch.